first in high definition from the station on your side. This is WAVY News 10.
We are following breaking news out of Isle of Wight.
That's where deputies found a body inside a house on Walters Highway near Beaver Dam Road. The sheriff's office told 10 on your side it's a violent scene.
These are pictures now from outside that house. We're told Isle of Wight and Southampton County deputies are searching for someone who lives at the home. And 10 on your side has a crew going there now. Look for updates here on air and on WAVY.com. Friends and family said goodbye to DJ Watts today. A 19-year-old from Chesapeake died trying to save his mother from a hostage ordeal this week. Police were called to his home on Canal Drive Sunday morning for reports of screams and gunshots. Police say 44-year-old Charles Collins shot 2 people inside the apartment. DJ was one of them. 10 on your side's Ann McNamara went to his emotional memorial service today. Ann?
Tom Derwin DJ Watts was just a few months from graduation at IC Norcom High School here in Portsmouth. Classes were canceled this afternoon, though, and in their place, a memorial service, and there wasn't a dry eye in the room. In a room full of mourning, there's room for healing.
I know my son would want me to be strong, even though I would give anything for him to still be here with me.
Tanisha Watts says 19-year-old DJ tackled the man who held them at gunpoint so she could run to safety.
Just knowing that this happened because he was trying to make sure that I got okay. It's the guilt that is unbearable at times.
Also unbearable, the pain of loss felt by so many who loved him. So many friends, Mom couldn't possibly know them all.
I should have knew DJ. He was a good brother. He was an awesome student.
And in a strange way, their goodbyes bring her comfort, some on a screen, others with the courage to stand up in front of the crowd.
Words just can't even describe it. I miss that man so much. You proved your love, the greatest son any woman could find.
They fought back tears as they sang from the heart, hearts that are broken. They wanted to stand next to DJ at graduation. Instead, they watched his sister pick up his cap and gown early. Mom says he loved robotics and engineering, but she'll never know what he could have done. She's just proud of who he was.
And it's so hard.
They had that service today because the funeral will be held tomorrow in Windsor. Many of his friends won't be able to attend it because it's so far away. Now, new at 6, our interview with DJ's girlfriend, who was also held hostage. What she misses most about him, she'll tell us, all new at 6. For now, I'm Ann McNamara, 10 on your side.
Police charged a Franklin man with animal cruelty charges after officers seized 6 puppies from his home last week. Some of the dogs were sick. All were in need of food and water. 10 on your side's Ava Hurdle is just back from Franklin after talking with a neighbor. Ava?
Nicole, she tells us she never saw the owner of the puppies abuse any animals.
Here you see the American Bulldog puppies taken to the Franklin Animal Shelter. This on April 17th after someone called animal control and reported hearing puppies whining and a foul odor coming from a shed behind this home off Laurel Street.
He found that there were 6 American Bulldog puppies in the shed. There was no food or water in the shed. They were walking around in their own feces, and he estimated the temperature in the shed to be about 85 degrees.
But Ruby, a neighbor, told us this.
I'm just surprised that all of that went down.
Is he nice to his dogs? How does he treat them?
I don't know now. When I saw him, he would be feeding them and giving them water, so I don't know. He'll have them in the yard. And he will be giving them water and feeding them. That's all I can tell y'all.
Police say 2 of the 6 puppies were found in poor health.
One of them had to be put down because of parvo. Another one is very sick and is probably going to have to be put down. So that leaves 4 that are still in somewhat questionable health.
We attempted to reach the owner of the dogs, 25-year-old Tyree Scott. He's facing animal abuse charges, but no one answered a knock at the door.
Scott is facing 6 misdemeanor charges of animal cruelty. He has a court date next month. I'm Ava Hurdle, 10 on your side.
Well, the helicopter that made a precautionary landing in Virginia Beach is back at Naval Air Station Norfolk. Crews worked all night to repair the MH-53E this morning, and after a few test liftoffs, You can see the helicopter flew away. A Navy commander told 10 on your side the indicator light came on yesterday 2 minutes after the Sea Dragon left Oceana. The light signals a possible problem with the backup power units that used to start the aircraft. While the pilot had to land in a field near Harper's Road. No one in the 8-person crew was hurt.
A 10 on your side follow-up now. City inspectors say a Chesapeake mobile home is unsafe and the property manager needs to remove the debris. A resident of a community on George Washington Highway called 10 on your side about a mobile home damaged by fire more than a month ago and another mobile home the owner tore down, but the property manager did not remove. The property manager told Melanie Woodrow yesterday he was waiting on permits, but a city spokesperson says those permits were already issued. The property manager must obtain a permit to demolish the home that caught fire, or the city will take him to court. Inspectors were in the neighborhood today and plan to return on Monday.
Well, the man said he wanted to look at a vehicle for sale, and police say instead he tried to rob the seller, hit him with a gun, and then shot the victim in the leg. This all took place April 9th outside P&P Auto. That's on Broad Street in Portsmouth. Police say this is the picture of the suspect inside the dealership. Detectives say when the victim said he couldn't hand over any money, the suspect hit him with a gun. The gun went off, and the suspect ran off. The victim went to the hospital for treatment. Police hope you can help them identify the man you see in that picture. 3 men armed with a shotgun hit a convenience store in North Carolina. These surveillance pictures show last night's holdup at the Duck Through on Virginia Road. That's in Edenton. Detectives say the men walked in around 10:30 wearing camouflage bandanas, heavy coats, and gloves and ran out with cash. No arrests yet.
A Virginia state trooper spotted a suspicious van near the Gilmerton Bridge construction zone, then arrested 2 men for trying to steal from the job site. Gary Colts and Anthony Belcher face charges. Troopers say they tried to steal welding material worth more than $1,000. State police say other local police departments are investigating the possibility Colts and Belcher are responsible for similar thefts at other construction sites.
Guilty of piracy and kidnapping, federal jurors in Norfolk say a Somali man acted as a hostage negotiator in the hijacking of the yacht Quest. They heard more than a week of testimony in the trial of Mohammed Salih Shabin and spent today negotiating before returning that verdict. 4 Americans were shot and killed in last year's hijacking off the coast of Africa. Shabin faces life in prison when he's sentenced in August.
We're on your side with a couple of 10-time saver traffic alerts because of bridge and tunnel work. VDOT is closing the Gilmerton Bridge in Chesapeake tonight at 8. It should reopen by 5 a.m. Monday. You can take the high-rise bridge instead. And the southbound lanes from Newport News to Suffolk at the Monitor Merrimack Bridge Tunnel will also close tonight at 8. VDOT is closing the lanes until 6 a.m. Monday for repaving. You'll have to take the HRBT instead.
The future of Waterside is still undetermined. The city manager made his recommendation, but now there's a new proposal. 10 on your side's Andy Fox gets reaction to that plan. New at 5:30.
The Titanic's tied in North Carolina's Outer Banks, the important moment in history found in the walls of what is now a museum.
But first, an update on a Suffolk girl born 17 weeks premature, weighing less than a pound, one of millions of reasons why there's a walk for babies.
We got the weekend coming up, and one thing that's going on is a race. In tomorrow night's forecast for the Richmond area, cloudy skies. There is a chance of a very light rain shower or two, which can shut down the race. It'll be on the coolish side, 60, dropping to 56 by the time the race is over. We'll talk more about the forecast for the rest of us in just a few minutes.
And we're following breaking news in Isle of Wight, where deputies found a body inside a house on Walters Highway.
We are working to get the very latest from the scene.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Shad, Nicole Ribas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
This is one more way that 10 is on your side. We're working to help raise awareness and money for premature babies.
Carrie Fury and Jimmy Ray of Eagle 97.3 are on a 5-day March for Babies. Today, on day 3, they walked from Isle of Wight County to Portsmouth.
And tonight, Carrie introduces us to one of the precious reasons why they are doing all that walking.
Well, Friday, of course, is a big day for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's the most miles, 20 miles from the south side of the James River Bridge all the way to the Midtown Tunnel in Portsmouth. We go over the the Miles Godwin Bridge, and it's a test physically, but you know, spiritually we love Friday. It's the prettiest landscape, and we also look forward to seeing old friends every year. I want to introduce you now to Aaron and Virginia. They came to visit us here today at Hall Chevrolet, and we look forward to seeing you every year because we love watching this little one grow. Virginia was a March of Dimes ambassador baby and still is, born how early?
17 weeks early.
How terrifying that must have been for you.
There are no words to describe it.
And tell me how she's doing today.
She's doing great. She's actually physically and developmentally advanced, mentally and physically. So we could not be here without March of Dimes and their support, their education, their programs, their medication.
Well, we know that you have stayed very involved in the March of Dimes organization, and so has Virginia, and we're just so glad that you bring her out every year because that's what the March of Dimes is all about. So I hope you have a really fun summer. All right, of course, there's my partner, Jimmy Ray. How you feeling about Friday?
I'm loving Friday. Look at the weather, man. This is awesome. And, you know, people are honking and waving and thumbs up, and that tells us they're getting it. You know, it's about healthy babies with the March of Dimes.
All right, we're getting closer to the ocean front. We're going to pick it up tomorrow morning, 12 miles, 8 miles Sunday morning, and then we'll join everybody for the walk in Virginia Beach. Yay, Carrie and Jimmy Ray.
Boundless energy there from Carrie Fury. Tomorrow, Carrie and Jimmy Ray are walking from Norfolk to Virginia Beach. Follow their journey on WAVY.com.
And you can join the WAVY team and walk with us Sunday at 8 in the morning. Be sure to get there early to register. Just check out our special March of Dimes section on WAVY.com's homepage.
Well, what's cleaning your clothes could make you sick. That's why some groups want to see changes to a popular detergent.
People on the Outer Banks were among the first to learn about the Titanic disaster 100 years ago.
North Carolina didn't realize that that it has a tie to the Titanic.
The piece of history recovered in these walls. Back to that breaking news in Isle of Wight.
That's where deputies found a body inside a house on Walters Highway.
The sheriff's office told 10 on Your Side it is a violent scene there. 10 on Your Side has a crew at the scene gathering some information now.
Look for updates here on air, of course, and on WAVY.com. We're staying on top of it.
100 years ago this month, the crew of the Titanic sent a distress call after hitting an iceberg. What many people don't know is a small weather station on Hatteras Island received that message.
The record of that is now on display, but it's the path to the museum that's almost as amazing as what we were discussing. 10 on Your Side's Walter Hildebrand explains.
For ages, the Outer Banks has had a front row seat to the graveyard of the Atlantic.
There's some 4,000 shipwrecks off the coast here.
So it seemed only natural that one of the most famous shipwrecks of all, the Titanic, has a tie to the Carolina coast.
We were one of the first to receive the distress call, and what more appropriate place could you find than the graveyard of the Atlantic?
And that's just where you'll find it, at the graveyard of the Atlantic Museum.
It is amazing that it's still legible.
The years have taken its toll on this logbook entry, but you can make out Titanic and struck iceberg. But the fact that this document even made it here is simply amazing.
It's the only remaining station log from that crash.
It was discovered when they were renovating the museum. It was inside the walls.
A museum today, but around 1912 the building looked like this. The paper, along with hundreds of others, were used as insulation, and that's where it sat, in the walls for almost a century. It wasn't until 2005, when the building was being renovated, that they made the discovery. Not thought of as anything special at the time, it sat around for 7 years in a file.
I remember several times I had this document, you know, in my desk drawer. You know, I had stuck it in there, say, I'll get it down to the museum storage building later, you know.
But this year,
we decided, hey, the 100th anniversary is coming up. Maybe we should put this on display.
People have been very happy to see it. A lot of people didn't know it existed.
And since it's been here, it's received some interest.
We have received calls from the National Archives, the Library of Congress. I think the most exciting part is, you know, we found this document. It's related to the Titanic, but I think it's a part of the history that North Carolina didn't realize, that it has a tie to the Titanic.
Or that when the Titanic cried out, the Outer Banks was listening. In Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, Walter Hildebrand, 10 on your side.
That is so cool.
It just sat around for that long
Yeah.
until this year. That's what just blows me away. The document, though, will be on display at the graveyard of the Atlantic Museum until May 31st.
And after that, it will eventually make its way to the National Archives, but its future home will be North Carolina.
Now, in high definition, your Super Dot for 10 forecast with Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
It was used as insulation for nearly 100 years. Here's a look at what's going on right now throughout the region. And we've got skies which are starting to cloud up a little, but we're going to see a lot more cloud cover overnight. A look at the bigger picture, and we can see a little bit of an arc. I'll step in and show you what I mean here. There's an arc in terms of some cooler weather that's dropped on in. Now today, it's not that bad. Really, we saw temperatures into the 60s to around the 70-degree mark. So again, not that awfully bad, but the air is dry, and we've got some cloud cover moving on in, and we're going to continue to see some air roll in off of the Atlantic, so that's going to keep things a bit on the cool side. Here's what's going on in terms of cloud cover. Very thin cloud cover thus far, but still enough to make it partly cloudy. And we're going to see clouds get thicker and thicker and lower during the overnight hours and into the day tomorrow. Southeast winds really light and variable during the overnight hours, and it'll be rather cool. It'll likely drop to around 40 inland, 45 degrees, a little bit nearer the coastline overnight. Lots of cloud cover to start the day. A few breaks in the clouds to start the day. Northeasterly wind at 5 to 10. Easterly breeze at 10 miles an hour at the noon hour for tomorrow. Now, how about some rain with that? It's not looking like a real big chance of rain, and yesterday we were seeing maybe a sprinkle during the day for tomorrow. We're hardly even seeing that. Here's where we are by 7 o'clock in the evening tomorrow evening. Pardon me. Now, lots of folks are thinking about the race in Richmond, either watching it from home or driving on up to Richmond. Now, we're watching for any rainfall there after 7 o'clock. They've got races tomorrow evening into that area. Now, the future track, again, throws some rain real close. It's just to the north of Richmond, and it's questionable as to whether it's going to make it or not. But again, that's one thing that's going on by the midnight hour. And there could indeed be a stray shower, and that's all it takes to shut down the race because they can't have a wet track. But again, we'll watch for that. 10 to 15 mile an hour winds at the midnight hour, and some warmer air has drifted on northward. Is it really going to warm up for Sunday? No, not really, because there'll be an impulse that'll drop down through here and push that front a little bit farther southward again coming up during the day on Sunday. So it'll cool right back on down again for Sunday, and a slight chance of rain then. And we've got a few clouds throughout the region right now, partly cloudy skies. And if I get out of the way, you can see the temperatures. It's basically 64 to 70. The high so far in Norfolk was 69 degrees. Last night's low only dropped to about 60 degrees, so it stayed fairly mild during the overnight hours. Some other temperature readings, 64, 66, 70 right now into Suffolk. And you see it's a little cooler surrounded by the water at Chincoteague and also at Kill Devil Hills. We're seeing 59 degrees. So again, cooler near the water's edge, but 72, 73 degrees a little bit farther inland. Everybody drops on down during the overnight hours, though. It's going to get cooler, even with the increase in cloud cover. It'll be around 40 to 45 degrees, 44, 45 for most of the Hampton Road cities. And it'll warm up to around 65 late in the day for tomorrow. As far as that chance of rain, it's not real big tomorrow night. I'll put it on there and take it off. Slight chance of rain coming up Sunday afternoon. A little bit on the cooler side for the weekend. A big warm up, though, for next week.
Drug disposal. You probably have expired medications and prescriptions you don't need anymore. Tomorrow, you can safely get rid of them. We'll tell you why Take Back Day is so important. Plus,
that's something never would have thought that would happen to me or to us, to our child.
Fighting for Carly. Next on WAVY News 10 at 5:30, you're going to meet the little girl with a life-threatening disease never before seen here in Hampton Roads, and you'll hear what it will take to save her life.
old prescriptions often end up in the medicine cabinet, and sometimes that puts the drugs in wrong hands. Tomorrow, you can safely dispose of your unwanted meds during the DEA's Take Back program. You can hand over any prescription drug or over-the-counter drug not in liquid form.
Take Back Day is important because it gives us an opportunity to do a public service by collecting unused, unwanted, and expired drugs that are sitting in people's houses, in their medicine cabinets, and they really don't know what to do with them, and they just continue to collect them and they pile up. Prescription drugs, most studies show now, are the most abused drug this side of marijuana in America today.
Other locations across Hampton Roads are participating in the program. For more information, just log on to WAVY.com.
Well, cleaning your clothes with Tide detergent could expose you to a cancer-causing chemical. That's from the New York Times, which says the detergent contains trace amounts of dioxin. Now, the Environmental Protection Agency finds that chemical causes cancer in lab rats. Environmental and health groups are asking Procter & Gamble to change the formula. The company says the amount of the chemical in the Tide is well below safety risk level.
Passengers in a panic. Why health officials in hazmat suits and masks boarded a plane in Chicago. Hear from some of the people quarantined on the plane for several hours.
Then attorneys for George Zimmerman headed back to a Florida courtroom today. Find out what his website had to do with his latest appearance. That's new at 5:30.
And we are live on the scene of breaking news in Isle of Wight County.
Reports of a body found and a report from Jason Marks straight ahead.
I'm at check.
They were stuck on the runway for hours in Chicago under quarantine. The Centers for Disease Control says a passenger on board that Delta flight at Midway may have had a rash, monkeypox from Africa. Medical personnel in hazmat suits evaluated the woman from Minnesota and said it didn't appear to be that rare viral disease. Bed bugs likely caused the rash.
Captain comes on and says, well, this may sound a little strange, but it seems like we're going to be quarantined for a moment. Apparently someone is on board and they may or may not have something.
Of course, you're very relieved when they come and tell you, oh, it's just a case of bug bites.
The passenger with the rash was advised to seek medical care, and the CDC did collect contact information for all the passengers just in case. And oh yes, they were allowed off the plane 3 hours later. Breaking news, police are on the scene of a body found in Isle of Wight. We're live next.